Welcome to Be Customer Led, where we'll explore how leading experts in customer and employee experience are navigating organizations through their own journey to be customer led, and the actions and behaviors employees and businesses exhibit to get there. And now your host, Marbu Brown.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us on Be Customer Led. Today, we're going to challenge your thinking on how you can deploy AI to move the needle for your customers and employees' experience. And we have a great guest to help us do that. It's Noam Fine, CEO of Hear.ai, a company that helps their clients turn unstructured conversations into proactive, actionable insights. Now, Noam has been engaged with AI before it exploded on the scene in everybody's consciousness. But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's have Noam tell us more about his background and his journey to become CEO of Hear.ai. Noam, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marbu. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
I am so glad you're with us today. So now you're a two-time founder of AI startups. Tell us what white space was there when tell us about your journey first of all to become CEO of Hear.ai.
Okay, so maybe just like a tiny bit of a personal touch before, I guess, everything. So, as you might know, I've started this company with a co-founder. His name is Yossi. He's CTO for Here, and we've been actually working together for the past too long.
A lot of years, huh?
This journey we originally started as friends. So he's been my longtime friend, and we originally started our first company because we wanted to have, I guess, a good time. We wanted to enjoy what we're doing. We were seeking entrepreneurship. I think that was really the initiation of everything. You said two-time founder. It's actually four-time founder, but you're right.
Okay, there you
Right.
go.
But you're right. We are two-time founders in AI and CX, but overall, four ventures together, Yossi and I, each one it's in its own vertical. Before Here, our third venture was a company called AI. We were very focused on building AI agents, focusing on voice interactions. We are believers in voice, everything that has to do with voices as an interface and natural language. So that's been a long passion for us. AI founded, I think, almost 10 years ago, later acquired by Vonage, which I guess most of listeners might know. We stayed at Vonage for quite some time, an amazing experience. Loved being at Vonage. During our time at Vonage, it was also acquired by Ericsson at a very impressive deal for them. And we left Vonage roughly 2 years ago to start Here. Motivation to start the company, I think, is twofold. Again, on a personal level, we're geeks, and we saw everything happening with generative AI. We knew that we wanted to build a Gen AI native company. We knew that we wanted to engage only in this technology as it is significantly transformative across everything that we do. And I think now this is common knowledge. Everybody's feeling it or will feel it very soon. So that was one motivation. Second motivation was everything that we did at AI and later at Vonage, being exposed to and really having our hands in the whole contact center operation from the data perspective, seeing these operations as something that creates very significant amounts of data daily. We knew that we wanted a better, more efficient way to work with this data. Data today is everybody's gold, oil, and a very significant resource, underutilized, untapped almost in our space. We thought there's a better way to work with this data, and the combination of interesting data, transformative technology, we feel can create a very significant change in our industry. That's what we wanted to bring to life.
I've been in CX for quite a long time, and even as I think about AI and CX, I think of, what I call 8 perennially intractable problems that AI is helping, CX leaders to solve, right? And a lot of them are in the contact center. Not all of them are in the contact center, but a lot of them are in the contact center or, around things that have to do with servicing customers, right? And of course, this matter of unstructured conversations, it's a big deal. It's one of the places where, there's a huge opportunity to get information from customers without having to ask them because they're already giving it to you. And yet it's been one of those problems that, people have been trying to solve for a long time, but they haven't got good at it, right? So this is the problem that you're dealing with, helping your customers solve. Tell me about some of the aha moments that you all have had as you have begun to tackle this problem with the technologies that Here is bringing to life.
So maybe I'll take a step back and think of the traditional way of, or I wouldn't say traditional solutions, but let's say traditional approach and the existing solutions out right now in the market, and how a lot of both companies and CX leaders are approaching their challenges. I think it's very common to think of, okay, I have this very specific challenge. Let's see how I can find a solution to help me tackle this solution. And I think a lot of these solutions will now be powered by AI. AI as a technology that enables something to work sometimes better. So if today I want to do better quality assurance, I might go ahead and find a tool that is specializing in quality assurance. Probably will have AI somewhere in the title, and I'll go ahead and implement this. And then I'll have another issue, possibly compliance. I'll go and find a tool for that and so on. And maybe some agent assist functionalities and AI agents and so on to help me improve my efficiency. I'll get to that aha moment in a second. We think that there is a different way of tackling these issues, and I think again this aha moment and our approach to the solution they go hand in hand. Understanding that essentially within the customer interaction, the data that you're looking for in order to tackle and improve all of these, examples that I gave before, from compliance to quality assurance to improving your sales performance and maybe coming up with the right strategy, understanding the customer, improving customer service overall efficiency, understanding that all of this is actually inside this interaction. Then you understand that you do not need a tool that specializes in one functionality, but rather you're looking for a tool that can extract all of this information, right? The full range of the full spectrum of what you have within this call, using one tool, and that is actually, I think, the power that Gen AI brings to the table. And with that, actually, we're offering a different approach to the solution. I think if we're looking at how AI is improving our lives as individuals, we're all using, a ChatGPT sort of functionality, each with his own tool. But, the ChatGPTs, Claude, Gemini, whatever you're using, you're not actually using this tool to solve one specific problem. You're using this for a multitude of problems, and not only problems, but actually enhancing your existing capabilities. You want to write content, you go to ChatGPT, you write it better, right? You want to brainstorm, you can brainstorm there. You need a piece of information, you're researching something, it will bring you that. So actually, AI in our personal lives brings efficiency and enhancement across everything that we do. In a similar way, that is the approach that we're taking with Here, understanding that you can access this information and essentially improve productivity, efficiency, extract the right information that you want from customer interactions, and enhance everything that you do within the CX and contact center space.
Yeah, well, as I think about it, one of the biggest advancements we have with Gen AI is that, in the past, sometimes if you wanted to know something, you had to ask your question in a very specific way, or you had to have your data stored in a very specific way, and all of these kinds of things. And now, this is the thing that kind of is a game changer, because now I can ask that question any way I want. Okay, I'm not going to say I can have my data stored any way I want, but you know what? Sometimes I don't need all of these structures around my data like I used to have, right? Tell me a little bit about how you all have been able to tap into that to get insights for your customers, your clients that they can use and makes it more readily accessible for them.
So I'll describe maybe the technical infrastructure in high level without getting too technical about it. But I think recent technology advances, and if you're looking at really the cutting edge technology that is out there, it does enable you to do that. And I'll describe a little bit our architecture. I think it will make sense. And while this sounds futuristic, and I think it sounds far fetched for some people, it is important to understand that actually the technology is already there and we see it implemented across different verticals and functionalities. The phrase the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed. The technology is definitely here, it's just a matter of tapping into it. Essentially what we're using at scale is an autonomous AI infrastructure, agentic platform, as I think a lot of people know the architecture. What it does is, in order we're actually seeking to implement that kind of thinking and technology that we use across all of our operation, from initiation to deployment, setup, continuous usage. So the way that the platform works is once it sees data, right? It sees that interaction data. It plugs into your conversational data. It will autonomously understand and continuously evolve on the kind of parameters, functionalities that it would want to provide you with. As such, it will actually look at each interaction, analyze it into a very large number of parameters, which keeps evolving over time, making these parameters accessible for you for the different functionalities that you'd want to access, whether it being a certain report, tracking agent performance, understanding your customers better across the different parameters. It will also track new data coming in. It will also track new interests from you or the organization or marketing campaigns or whatever it is that your company does. Continuously learn, evolve, and extract more data from these interactions to support further decisions, further insights. So essentially, it is a zero-touch platform. You plug in, it will do the work for you. You can imagine it as being this sort of like almost analyst, maybe, understand your needs, can either answer the task that you're giving it immediately, or it will go fetch, do whatever it needs to do, research, come back to you with the right information, and can support it moving forward.
Okay, so when you say zero touch, give me a little bit more explanation of that. I mean, if I've got a customer and an agent on the line having a conversation, right? Do you need to have voice to text before it can access that conversation? Can it access that conversation in real time? Tell me what you mean when you say zero touch.
We analyze text, so we support all of the customer interaction channels, from video to voice, digital channels, ticketing, messaging, all of that, chat, of course. Everything, if it is voice or video, it gets transcribed into text. We analyze text. Digital channels, of course, an easier task. Can be done either near real time once an interaction is ended and stored, or in real time, really depending on the use case and the need. When we say zero touch, I think it's very typical to think of AI services and platforms almost as a project, right? You'll want to onboard a new system. You're looking at 6 months of meetings across organization. Let's decide on what it is that we want to tackle. Let's build these interfaces or these reports. There's setup, typically charged for. With here, it is entirely different. You are set up on day one. Once you're plugged in, you're set. Everything is actually out of the box, made for you, and is personalized over time for a specific user in the system. It will learn your role. If you are the compliance officer, will understand your role, your needs, your organization, and will tailor suggestions, be proactive for you, and understand the kind of data that you'd want to access. So when I mean zero touch, it is essentially everything out of the box. And maybe again, going back to the analogy that I think is easy to relate to from our personal use, you didn't do any personalization for ChatGPT once you started using it. It knows what you need, it has the data that you need once you start. And will improve over time because it understands you better over time. In a similar way, here works like that for you. You start everything out of the box and will personalize itself for you as you use the platform.
So you guys have worked with some major players. Out, for example, the airlines in Israel, others. And tell me about, what are some of the successes that you all have been able to achieve, working with these clients, where, you opened up something for them that they just hadn't been able to access before.
So I'll try and share a few of these stories, maybe tapping in on into some of, I guess, our mutual passions around both being passionate about customer experience as well as the agent performance and experience and how this is monitored. In a very large, when we're looking at agent training performance and so on, at a very large insurance company, we were part of the pain was large attrition. We know we have that agent attrition, right? So we know that's pretty always a big problem and has a huge impact across both resources that you spend, but also the quality of service that you provide. We've been able to one automate entirely the quality assurance process through the platform. Essentially, what you're doing is you're adding your feedback form for agent, the kind of procedure that you want to work with when you're evaluating agents. But the company had something team leaders were using to essentially manually listen. And I think that's very typical in the contact center today. You see team leaders manually listen on a very small sample of agent calls, filling in feedback forms, working with this, then feedbacking feedbacking agents. We've been able to instantly automate all of this. Got the feedback form, automated it. It is then analyzed 100% of each agent's calls, creating a daily performance report for each agent. That is also communicated to that agent via email to deliver a friendly one, okay? But it does deliver a continuous kind of like improvement cycle for that agent, instant feedbacks, helping them improve, but also feel valued and seen. But not only that, it also took the scripts and best practices from best agents identified by the system, created recommendations for team leaders that were then implemented, and also based on that created a tailored training program for each agent based on their weaknesses and strengths. And again, tapping into kind of like the zero touch. Imagine being able to do all of this. Again, zero touch, effortless. Platform creates all of this for you automatically. Can we imagine what is the heavy lifting to do something like that traditional way? All of this was done in a matter of days. Savings there were huge. I think if I remember the numbers correctly, they were hiring around and rehiring around 500 agents annually. Cost saving there was on this functionality only. Cost saving there was around $2 million annually. So very big numbers on something that was done in a matter of days, effortless, and was also done top notch. It is not about objective feelings or creating all kinds of stuff that is sometimes biased by team that's on the ground. Analyzed automatically, build automatically, and deployed.
Okay, so I'm going to recap a little of that so that I make sure I got it and I make sure nobody misses this. So the game changer here is that we've gone from a scenario where the team leaders for the agents are basically monitoring a sample of calls to a scenario where we can analyze the totality of an agent's calls over the course of a day, put together a daily report that shows what they've done well, what they haven't done well, but also for the best agents, you can take like their best practices and use that to create recommendations for how some of the agents that weren't as good can get better. And then, really begin to elevate those agents to give a better experience for the customers. Or maybe it could even be a difficult type of call to handle or difficult type of contact to handle, because it might not be a call, it could be a chat. And then, you can help agents that aren't as experienced become, better capable of taking those difficult to handle calls. So that sounds like a game changer, because going from, like a sample of calls to the totality of calls, that's a big deal. Another big deal is that you don't necessarily have to have these supervisors taking time off, or not as much time, I'll put it that way, to go listen in on calls, because you've got a mechanism that's capturing, doing some analysis that they can use. And of course, periodically they have to get in there, listen, make sure that what the AI is giving them is accurate, right? No hallucinations and stuff like that. So it sounds good. You have another example you wanna share?
Yeah, of course. But maybe last thing about this, I think on a maybe slightly philosophical level, what you've described here and is the situation in the contact center. I think managers are typically in a state of they're firefighters. They have a fire going on. They need to put it down somehow, and that kind of like is the majority of their day. Once you're able to automate a lot of this, once you're able to deliver that kind of like relief and make some time, you can allow yourself some time to think, strategize, improve. So it's not only about putting out fires, it's about improving the operation, making people feel better, making customers feel better. Hey, what can we do better, across the board? That's kind of like a mind shift. And I think that there's a lot of impact around this throughout the organization.
That's a great mind shift, by the way, because that creates a better experience even for the supervisors. It creates a better experience for the agents. And like you said, instead of these folks rehiring people over and over, some of the people stick around because the job is not as, shall I say, distasteful as it once was. But you're about to get started into something else.
It also
go ahead.
creates value. It also creates value for the organization, which we know there's a lot of value in the contact center. It's simply very hard to extract it right now because, again, everybody's constantly engaged with just like making sure that everything's okay. But once you're able to free some time, you can extract that strategic value from the contact center, which you invest so much resources into. And the entire organizations start seeing results from that. Compliance, which is something that we do very nicely. Compliance is, I think, there's two main challenges when you're tracking compliance. Typically, at sensitive organizations, we're looking at banking here, but across banking, credit, insurance, of course, and others. Very regulated. Lots of.
I was going to say, just all of the regulated industries, the compliance aspect is a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm. With that, you're investing a lot of effort and resources on kind of like checking. But you have teams that, even with large compliance teams, they're only able to listen again. They're sampling calls, right? Listening on a few on these calls, and moreover, it is once regulation changes. It becomes very hard to enforce this regulation, making sure that everybody's aware, enforce it, track it, and so on. So these are also processes. In a similar way to what we've done with quality assurance, we do this with compliance. In compliance, we can do. I'll highlight two things that we do very well. One, once new regulation comes up, or any kind of regulation that you need to track, all you need to do is upload this to our platform. It will automatically create the kind of reporting that you need in order to track regulation. Typically, a script that you need to do. There's also tighter integration sometimes with internal system where you have to pull information, adapt your script to it. This is something that is done, again, automatically, and our platform is able to implement these with reports that allow you to track it. In the second half of this, analyze 100% of calls, flag only these interactions, flag only these interactions that are non-compliant, relay those to the team. What we've been able to achieve in that specific bank institute is 24-hour turnover from the minute that a new regulation was required to be deployed, to the moment where this was communicated to agents, tracked with the right reporting and the right platform that is able to flag these incompliant calls, and again across 100% of customer interactions. So very easy to track complex compliance scenarios, and team becomes much more effective.
Cool. So let me ask you. So far, all the things we've been talking about are in the contact center. But obviously, there's a lot of scenarios for unstructured, conversations that are not necessarily in a contact center. I mean, like, for example, you can have unstructured conversations on social media. You can have unstructured conversations in a company with executive escalations. You can have unstructured conversations, with people just sending in complaints, a bunch of different ways. Have you all tackled some of these other scenarios with unstructured conversations?
Yeah, I'll mention maybe two examples for this. First of all, our conversation, right, the one that we're having now, will also be pulled into our platform for my personal account. All my interactions are essentially being analyzed. While I think I know the ideas that I have already, during this interaction, new ideas come up and feedbacks from you that are valuable, and I want to capture for my needs, be it the product roadmap, right? Understanding the market better, and other insights. These are all reports that I'm producing for myself based on the interactions that we have. And by the way, I pull in our kind of conversations. I pull in internal conversations that we have over video. I pull in sales calls, because in every one, and I think that's really important to understand, in everyone there is insight, in a similar way to how you have insight in every customer interaction. Even if he's going to complain about something, or if this device doesn't work, you can understand why the device doesn't work. You can understand what bothers him, what he's happy with. He will mention, he or she, right, will mention casually other stuff that is important to know. So in a similar way, our conversation is super valuable for me.
Super. I mean, like you say, customer wish lists, for example, they come up in these conversations. And the fact is, like you're saying, every interaction like this has value. Companies have millions of these interactions every single day. Very few of them are tapped for the information value that they actually do have. And to me, this is one of the biggest things that AI is helping us to unlock, because a lot of times people are going out to customers to ask them about these things, but the customer already told you. Okay. You didn't have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
They already told you. And so that whole notion you're saying about using, the tool in this way, right? To hear what your customers are saying to you in these interactions that are informal interactions. They're not necessarily meant to solve a problem or even to give you a suggestion, but they may help solve problems and give you suggestions all at the same time while not even actually trying, right?
Absolutely. This is, of course, why I love your podcast, because totally aligned on this. The analogy that I'll always come up with, it's a bit tacky, but like how when light breaks into like a prism, you have like this white light coming in, but it breaks, but within this white light that we're seeing out, you have the full spectrum of colors, right? A conversation is a little bit like that. You get one media stream coming in, but you can break it down to all of your operational needs, which is, stuff we talked about, quality assurance and compliance. You can take product insights out of that. You have sales opportunity there. You can build your company strategy based on that if you're just able to really listen granularly to what the customer says.
Mm-hmm. So you said something about a couple of examples. So you start with one about how you're using all of your interactions. What else did you have in mind?
We're analyzing surveys. Surveys are sometimes not typically seen as conversations, but they are. You sometimes ask a question, you get one response. It is typically like a very short kind of interaction, a short conversation. So we do these very effectively. we're able to also tie them up to previous customer interactions. So this is something that is currently sometimes siloed. You have your interactions and you have your post-sales or post-conversation surveys. You want to determine your NPS and so on. Once you're able to tie these together, you create very cool insights. We also analyze a lot of documentations that are sometimes relevant for that interaction. So essentially, anything that is either textual or can be transformed into a textual format and is part of the interaction that you have with your customers is something that we will build insights on and deliver the full 360 view of your relationship with the customer.
I talk about the 8 intractable, perennially intractable problems that CX leaders have been trying to solve. This one about extracting insights from unstructured data, one of the biggest ones. I mean, it's not the purpose of us to talk about those, 8 intractable problems today. We're just talking about one of them. But it's a very critical one, because a lot of times, companies are trying to understand their customers better. They're trying to understand what I can do to make the experience better for the customer. And a lot of times the information's already there, but they don't know how to access it. And so, this is why I really want to have this conversation, because we're talking about, how to crack the code, how to access that information and make it better for customers. So, I'm going to follow up a little bit. And if you guys haven't tackled that already, it's okay. But have you all applied this to like social media or complaints or any of those kinds of things yet? Or is that still yet to come?
No, definitely customer relations and complaints, absolutely. So we analyze emails very effectively. When you think of an email thread, it is definitely a conversation, asynchronous, right? But a conversation. Not so much on social media. I think it's a matter of focus, right? We're looking at the interactions that we're having in the contact center space. So very focused on that, but could definitely be applied there. I think one of the coolest things that I like about, I'm not sure about if it is about, I guess it's about the company we're in and the technology, is that it becomes very inspiring. We have new ideas from our customers, new needs, and all of a sudden you can see customers that can now imagine and say, hey, can we do this and can we do that? And when we're able to say yes, of course, it's there, easily. That's amazing. Seeing people getting inspired, coming up with new ideas, with new requirements that beforehand they didn't even let themselves, think of or dream of.
So is there anything exciting on the horizon, new for you guys that you haven't really tapped into yet, but you kind of see that, hey, this is a place where we're going to go next?
The vision for us has been always around the autonomous contact center. We're looking at the future operation as something that is almost like a living organism, something that grows and evolves over time, because we know that the needs keep evolving based on, let's say, your product or your service company, right? Your services change over time. There's external factors that also influence what you do. The strategy changes. That also, and with that, the needs by your customers and for your customers keep changing over time. So we know that the contact center needs to change. We're also seeing a lot of AI, of course, right? Something that we do, but AI coming into the space significantly. So now we also see the complexity of managing the contact center and the future contact center increasing almost exponentially. Because if today I'm doing an okay job in managing, I'm maybe suffering a little bit, but an okay job managing the people that I have around. Now bring in complex technological systems into play, and I have to manage people and all these different interfaces and functionalities that are siloed. Definitely in a world where AI and automation takes more volume in the contact center space, be it 30, 50%, 70% automation, complexity increases. And we know that in this case, people and AI technology need to be managed with AI-driven tools. Otherwise, you have no chance of essentially tackling this task. So Our vision is definitely around the autonomous contact center that is able to execute autonomously, grow autonomously. It is something that we are working towards and investing a lot of effort into, and have already implemented to some extent. It is definitely a challenge and something that needs to be handled with caution, because hey, it's customer information. It is you have all the sensitivity around that. It is you need to have proper guardrails. You need at the basic level. It is a platform that needs to be trusted, that needs to be transparent for our customers. So we are working towards this. Super exciting. We are experimenting with this already and extremely excited about it. We'll be releasing this gradually, I guess, over time.
Cool. So, I mean, so far, I heard you allude to this a little bit, I think. So far, a lot of the work that you've been doing is complementing the human, it's kind of like AI and the human together. And it seems like, a lot of what you're doing is focused in that area, even with the autonomous contact center. But I'm also hearing that you're planning for the scenario where some of that volume is going to be offloaded to AI agents that will actually handle it, whether it's a chatbot type of an agent or something like that. And you know what? That's one of the other intractable, perennially intractable problems, right? Because we haven't been in an environment where people can reliably and effectively offload to those types of secondary agents. Well, look, Noam, I hate to tell you this, but we pretty much run out of time. So we're gonna have to wrap this up. But hey, where can people find you if they want to continue this conversation? How can they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Noam at Hear.ai. Easy.
Okay, cool. So, just your name, your first name, and at Hear.ai, and they can get a hold of you that way. Well, I want to say thank you for, joining us today, sharing your thoughts. I'm sure that the people in our audience have picked up some ideas that they can, take and put to use right away. And, if they have more questions, they can find you and ask you about them. So again, thank you very much for stopping by. And to all of you listeners out there, I want to say thank you for joining us for today's program. Make sure to join us again next time, because we're going to have another program where you can get some nuggets that you can put to use for either customer or employee experience or both right away in your environment. Thanks again. We'll look forward to you joining us next time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Be Customer Led with Marbu Brown. We are grateful to our audience for the gift of their time. Be sure to visit us at becustomerled.com for more episodes. Leave us feedback on how we're doing, or tell us what you want to hear more about. Until next time, we're out.